Shoot. Okay, there we go.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, what up, man?
That's crazy. I never had that issue before.
Yeah, me either. What's
What's
good with
good,
you,
man?
man? Oh man, nothing, man. I'm cool, calm and collected, man. I just want to say, man, thank you for this opportunity, man. And I've been listening to you since I was like a little kid, like in high school, man. So this is like a dream come true right now.
Man, I appreciate it, man. Man, I ain't been on this Instagram live in a minute, but shout out everyone joining, man. I probably ain't seen them in a minute either, but no, I appreciate it, man. Appreciate the love. Way to make me feel old a little bit, but it's all good.
So I'm old too, man. Like time travels, bro, and it's just one of those things that a lot of people just look at like as a bad thing, like aging, and it's just people don't want to become old, man. I don't know. I think it's just a gift, man. It's like a cherished moment, like when you um a kid and you listening to your parents reflect and stuff like that, and then it's your turn now to reflect. So it's one of those things that I take for just as a humbling experience. So
Nah, for sure, man. I mean, anytime you can get older, man, a lot of people don't get to the age that I'm at, so I'm definitely blessed, man, and very appreciative.
yeah, yeah, man, no problem, man, no doubt. So I wanted to ask you, man, so what's been going on with you today and stuff like that? Do you and Smile still talk?
Yeah, yeah, no, me and Smiles, we just celebrated 20 years of the album, so we just had a little brunch. We all got together, a lot of people that we ain't seen in years, kind of got together and got to kick it. So that was fun. Obviously we all older, we got families, we got a lot of things going on in our lives. So we don't see each other as much. But we definitely stay connected. We talk here and there, just kind of, just keep up to date with each other. And overall, everybody's doing good, man. I mean, just all just grown families and just kind of doing our thing, man. But life's been good, man. Can't complain. Definitely blessed.
And that's good, man, because a lot of people wonder what happened to you guys, and you guys were like a very talented group and everything, and it's really, um, I would say that um, it's not like a lot of groups who stay connected and stuff like that and stay loyal to each other. So that's what's up.
Yeah, much love, man. Nah, I mean it's been a while since we did music, so we
Hmm.
we definitely have a lot of other things that go on, but that's my guy, man. Like we shared. Like I always tell people, I was like, there's only one other person in the world that knows exactly what I experienced for that time frame of my life, and that's him, because he went through exactly what I went through. So we'll always have that connection, and that's my brother. You know what I'm saying? Forever.
Yeah. So how did you guys meet?
We was just both, artists like in Orlando, man. Just small city.
Hmm.
Wasn't a really big hip hop scene at the time here in Orlando. A lot of people from different parts of the country, kind of migrate here. It was
Hmm.
still, in my opinion, really young hip hop scene here in Orlando, and we just kind of all, we used to all just be in the same, you know, clubs or events, same shows. We would, when we started doing our thing, we would open up and do a lot of opening, be the opening act for a lot of artists that would come through and be at different shows. So, we knew of each other through that route, but really it was Dakari who, produced most of our album. Um, that pretty much put us together and brought us together and put us in the studio together and started working together. And the chemistry when we started working together was just, it was kind of like right off the bat. First night we did like two records, came back the next night, did two more songs. And from there, we just kept doing records and records. And, we didn't go in the studio thinking, hey, we're going to make an album or be a group or get a record deal. We just loved making music at the time. And any opportunity we had to kind of jump in the studio, with a producer that had records that we can get on, we took advantage of it. So that's really kind of how it all came about. And next thing a couple months down the road, we put an album together, started marketing a single, and voila, like it just kind of happened so quick. But with me and Smiles, we was just both, just hungry. We just wanted
Hmm.
to be in the studio whenever we had a chance, and got a chance to get together and make records. So that's kind of how it kind of all formulated.
Yeah, and you two like came around during the 106 and Park era, man, which was a beautiful era and an era that's not going to be duplicated ever again. So,
Yeah, 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 man. I mean, we were fortunate.
hmm
I definitely am blessed to, in my opinion, I'm probably a little biased, but I think that 2000s, late 90s, 2000s era hip hop to me is like the golden era of hip
yeah,
hop.
yeah,
It's when it kind of exploded, really definitely became more acceptable, kind of pop mainstream. Before that, obviously I love that era as well.
hmm
Because that's kind of the foundation, and then of course, nothing against the era after that either, because
of course
I'm a
not,
hip
of
hop
course not.
fan to death, so
Yeah,
I still listen to all the new guys now, but yeah, man, fortunate to be around that time, man. A lot of 106 in Park was a great experience to be able to go on that, and just see a lot of those acts that now are considered legends, be around that and kind of see their rise at the time. It was definitely a blessing to be a part of that.
yeah, and I want y'all to, well, I want you to take us to that first day when y'all shoot the video, man. What was that like? I know it was probably like butterflies in your stomach, like, oh my God, it's my first video that's gonna be seen all over the country. So take us through that day.
So our first video that we actually shot was our first single, which is called "Who Wants This" from the album.
Hmm.
We shot in LA, and now it was crazy. I mean, we ain't never experienced anything like it. So we get there, and it's for back in the days it wasn't like everybody now can shoot a music video with a DSLR, and they got so many cameras that shoot such good quality that you can literally just walk outside and get a video done. Back in those days, for that quality to be on like a BET or anything like that, you were
Hmm.
shooting film, 35 millimeter film, full
Hmm.
set, full production. So we go first day one, we all excited, man. I mean, we've had the meetings leading up, gone over like the storyboard and, kind of talked about what's going to happen, been through wardrobe and, just kind of excited. I wouldn't say nervous. I think it was more like the anticipation, like, oh man, like, first day of school type vibe, right? Like, you're just excited. And,
Yeah.
we show up to set to shoot this video and you just like, man, this is crazy. Like, because you start really seeing like how many people, and then when you're shooting, on set, they call you the talent, so it's like they treating you like, they treating us like extra special with care. Like they don't want us to do certain things, no stunts, no, we need you in the trailer, we want you because we can't, mess up this. Basically, we need you in the video. Like you can't get hurt, you can't be looking crazy because we need to be able to get the shot. But so
Yeah.
for us, it was just like a surreal experience because we like, man, this is crazy, man. Like, they treating us like we special, and we thinking to ourselves like, well, we ain't even nobody yet. Nobody know who we are. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But now it was dope. I think that was like the first time I realized like, to shoot a 3 minute, 4 minute video, it takes like
Hmm.
a day and a half, 2 days. Like it's crazy how many, how many hours you put in to such a little bit of time, but just to get all the shots that you want for edit. But no, it was definitely a blast. I mean, that's the first one. The second one, which was Tell Me, we were definitely more prepared for it. Because we kind of already went through the experience one time, so we kind of showed up that one. I was like, okay, we know what it's like now. But that first one was definitely surreal, man, and it was kind of like, we definitely ran on a lot of adrenaline because I don't think me and Smile slept or anything like that. We was just in the trailer hanging out, having a good time, and then whenever they call, oh, you need us, let's go. Like so it was a good time, man. But definitely an experience for sure.
And that's what's up, man. And that Tell Me song, bro, like, um, it's very storytelling, and you just pretty much can, like, especially when you experience that type of stuff, like, you can just really relate and
Yeah.
resonates. And so, was it like a actual an event that you or Smiles went through, or that was just you two being creative?
No, no, for sure. I mean, everything. I think for the most part, I could definitely speak with my side, and I know Smiles as well, but I won't speak for him. But
Hmm.
for the most part, everything we write or I write, is from experience, right? Like either it's something I've seen, witnessed, or something I've actually been through.
Hmm.
And tell me, for example, wasn't necessarily one exact experience,
Hmm.
um, but a combination of, the experience I had been through. Thinking at that time I knew everything about relationships. I was only like, 20 something years old. I definitely didn't know anything about relationships at the time. Um, but just kind of going to studio, the record just kind of, a lot of it was just feeling. So, we just kind of spoke what came through my mind, and definitely spoke on experiences, up to that point, as far as, what relationships were like for me at the time. So, um, and I think that's why it gets across so genuinely, I guess, to
Hmm.
people to this day, to see people still, love that record to this day, and the record still does numbers to this day. Like, I'm like, man, this is crazy, because it's like, it's been 20 plus years. A lot of people don't even know who probably who we are, who did this song. Like, they just know the song, because it brings them back to a moment, and they can relate to it. So, you know, really blessed, man. And like I said, now definitely just feeling. So I think, and I think a lot of times, because it was feeling and genuine, it gets across so good, and it touches people.
Oh yeah, man. Like it really touched me, man. I still listen to it to this day. And it's funny because like when I was promoting this episode, a lot of people was like, "Man, no, you ain't, man. He ain't coming on your show, man. Like you lying and stuff like that." I'm like, what? So you'd be surprised, man. People actually know who y'all are from my timeline. So,
Yeah, yeah. No, no, I mean, it comes around like every so often, like,
hmm.
someone will post a video, or somebody will post this, and then people will tag me on it, and I'd be like, and I go look, and I'm like, man, like, it's crazy how, because I think, again, we celebrated 20 years since the album release, so the
Hmm.
record's been around for 20 years, and for it to still get the love, and people still, playing it, and it's on playlists. Like, I'm really, grateful for that, because, a lot of songs come and go, man, and for something like that to still be around all these years later, definitely dope.
Oh yeah, and the nicest thing about all of that is 20 years later, you still good, you still happy and stuff like that. Because a lot of people has this misconception of just when you make it into the industry and stuff, like all your problems go away, you know, money brings happiness and stuff like that. But I just think you just have to be a very intelligent person in order to um, be able to just live a prosperous life without the fame and the glamour and stuff like that. So just the fact that you still here, you humble, you good, you prospering, man. That's a good feeling, man, because every entertainer don't have it so good, don't have it so easy.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, man. I mean, definitely is something that you got to know how to be grounded.
Hmm.
I think for me personally, I was never really a fan of the attention. It always kind of made me uncomfortable at times,
Yeah.
like, walking through the mall and people staring at me, like, why are you looking at me? Even though I know why you looking at me, but it's like, why you looking at me? But
Yeah.
for me, it was never that. I really enjoyed, I enjoy doing music, and I love hip hop. So,
Hmm.
making hip hop music, being able to do that for a living for that period of my life was, super dope. But, you take the good and the bad, right? Like, obviously, love being on stage, love performing, love being in the studio, creating, those are the things that I love doing. The other things just kind of come with it as things get bigger and bigger. So, I think, obviously having good people around me, good family, good friends around me, keep me grounded.
Hmm.
And yeah, man, I mean, it was a part of my life. Um, Again, still talking about it to this day is crazy to me, because it's been so long.
Yeah.
But I'm very appreciative for that part of my life, and at the same time appreciative to be able to have done other things since then. So,
Yeah. So who are your influences?
um, well, musically, my favorite artist is Jay-Z. That's always, pretty much been my guy.
Yeah.
But growing up, I lived in, I grew up in Southern California. I left there, I moved there from when I was like 11,
Hmm.
12. Moved in Jersey City, New Jersey. and then we lived there for 2 years before moving to Florida. So when you talk about like having influences from all over and all
Yeah.
the different styles of music, I definitely have that influence, right? Because I grew up West Coast, listening to Dre, NWA, Snoop, Ice Cube. You can even go to like Alcoholics, Souls of Mischief, the early days.
Yeah.
And then you go to Jersey. I lived in Jersey City pretty much 92, 93, 94 time frame.
Yeah.
So that's like when New York hip hop really started taking it back,
Hmm.
with Nas and Biggie and the whole Bad Boy movement and Wu Tang and all of that going on. So I was really heavily influenced by them. And then coming down south, at that time when I first moved here, obviously New York hip hop kind of ran hip hop, but
Hmm.
coming down here, hearing your Outcasts and your Trick and Trina and the whole slip and slide movement in Miami, and so definitely influence from all of that, and then being around all the different cultures, because when you go to these different places, man, you realize like culture is different, man. People's different. People talk different. People dress different. People act different.
Hmm.
And having that, being able to see all of that, definitely has a lot to do with my influences.
And it's crazy that you say that because I moved a lot too. So I lived in New York. I lived in Detroit. I lived in St. Louis. So I was able to just witness a lot of cultural differences and stuff. And it's the
Yep.
cultural differences. And that's why I'm very opinionated when it comes to music because I have lived in different places. So I can see why New York rappers are very passionate because it's just like a difference down there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I lived in St. Louis, so the Nelly era and stuff like that, I could get it. Like it was
Yeah.
just one of those moments. It just where like money came by, and I just pretty much can, as a grown man, because I was a kid going through all that. So just as a grown man, I was just like, wow, this is crazy, and just to seeing the um, evolution of the game now, how it's easy to get a bigger bag and get sponsorships and endorsements and stuff like that. So
Yep.
does it kind of like affect you knowing that you can get all those things now and stuff compared to back then, or it's just
Nah, it don't
open up
affect
to
me,
it?
man. I mean, none of that stuff affects my day. So,
Hmm.
as far as like, I think it's dope. I
Yeah.
think it's dope where hip hop's gotten, because like I said, I've been following hip hop since I was young. And I remember, living in LA when, uh, Snoop Dogg CDs and Dr. Dre CDs was getting, smashed, because they were saying, oh, this is bad for you. And,
Hmm.
to see where it is now, is to me is dope. Like, and even, and from our era, it was still, hip hop started kind of becoming a little more mainstream, being even in Orlando, let's say when I first started going out for nightlife, and into the clubs and stuff, you know, the hip hop club was one hip hop club we was all at each night. It was like
Hmm.
Monday we were here, Tuesday we were here, Wednesday we was here, Thursday we was all here, because the other place didn't want to play hip hop music, because they thought it was a bad stigma. So, but now you go here in Orlando and you have to play hip hop, because that's what everyone likes. So I think it's dope. Um, I think man, take advantage of it. Like
Yeah.
being able to get your music out there, immediately almost, through distribution and get on the streaming platforms, people hearing it right away. I think that's a game changer. Shooting videos, having platforms to play your videos like that, that those are things that we didn't have back then. Like if we shot a
Right.
video, it was gonna cost a lot of money, and then then you had to turn around and get it on somewhere to play it. We didn't have YouTube to
Yeah.
just throw it on, or your even Instagram or your own social media platforms. Like we didn't have none of that. We didn't have Apple Music, and we
Right.
was around when Napster was like the first stealing music. It's like, oh, that's bad, but
Yeah.
I think it's dope, man. I think it's dope because it gives, a lot of young guys opportunities that, maybe they would never be given. And,
Hmm.
like I tell a lot of young artists or producers or people that I, consult or I'm around and they ask me questions, I tell them all the time, like, look, man, like, you can make a living making music.
Hmm.
You don't necessarily have to be Drake, you know what I'm saying? But ain't nothing wrong making 60, 100 grand a year doing music. You're doing something
Right.
you love and you're making really good money from it. So,
Hmm.
and a lot of people will probably be very happy with that salary, so, take
Hmm.
advantage of opportunities, learn it. It's still a business. You got to educate yourself on the business side of it, because it is still a business. You got to know how to market yourself. You got to know how to sell it. But yeah, like, I'm happy for these people out here, man, taking advantage of the platforms and getting that bag, man. No hate
Yeah.
here, man.
Of course not. Of course not. But what I mean by that was it's just this battle or this young versus old thing with our culture,
Yeah,
and I believe just anybody who were able to get signed and able to release an album, I believe you guys paved the way for future generations to come because it's like um y'all was doing it when everything wasn't so accessible.
yeah.
So I gotta respect that. I respect that because of the fact
Appreciate it,
that
man.
it's not it wasn't easy back then, and
Yeah,
going to radio stations to play your demos and
yeah,
actually doing shows, doing contests. It was a lot of work, but
yeah.
now it's just social media. You could just put something on a website and get views and get streams and stuff. So I give y'all nothing but my utmost respect for that.
No, I appreciate it, man. I mean, but I think, even us, for us, I definitely think, every generation or every, I guess, time in hip hop or whatever has paved the way for the next, but
Hmm.
that's evolution, right? That's how you evolve, and that's why hip hop is so big, like, um, you know, even for us, older guys that, we can still do records now because there are 40, 50-year-old, 60-year-old hip hop heads. There wasn't 40, 50, 60-year-old hip hop heads, 20, 30 years ago.
Right.
It was still a young game. So,
Hmm.
so that's, so you see guys like in their 50s right now still doing their thing. Like that's dope, like because we have evolved and we have an older audience. So I think,
Hmm.
a lot of times, I'm appreciative of that. And then, even for me, we respect the generation before us that paved the way too. Like
Yeah.
what they did because they opened those doors too and created a platform. So yeah, man, I mean, definitely think every generation helps the next. You learn, that's the whole point of it. Like, you learn from the previous one, how do you do better? Now you have, other platforms have opened up, doors have opened up. Take advantage of it. And, the next generation is even has a bigger platform, and they're going to learn from this
Hmm.
generation, so that's kind of how hip hop has, that's how hip hop is going to continue to evolve.
Hmm.
And I think that's important. So, a friend of mine once told me, he said, he said, you got to keep up with what's going on, or you become a dinosaur. And he said, and you know what happened to dinosaurs, right? I said, yeah, you're right. I was
Yeah.
like, yeah. He's like, so, you can't really, as an older head, I guess I'm an older head now. I can't really look at the younger generation and be like, oh, your music is this, or I'm very, I like what I love what I'm seeing. I love the fact that it's so many people keeping hip hop going, and the cream still rises to the top, like so,
Yeah.
um, it's like the independent major conversation that everyone always wants to have. It's like, well, they're both good. It just depends on your situation, what works better for you. For the most part, all the artists that you see on the top charts on Billboard, most of them are major artists. So but that doesn't mean that being independent doesn't make sense for you because you can make good money for a living independently. You just might not be him, and that's okay, but you should be okay with that. So, no, I love the young generation. I like a lot of stuff that's going on now. Happy that I was around in the time that we were around because I love that generation. Probably the most. Again, I'm probably a little biased when I say that, but I'm
Hmm.
also really appreciative of the generation before us that paid away.
Yeah. That's good, man. And I'm also a artist too, man. I wanted to um, see you some of my work and just to see if you would like it or not, because I'm
Yeah,
working on a mixtape and stuff like that. I already have two out, so I'm dropping my third mixtape because I'm kind of like in an